Hey everybody, so this year I am experimenting with doing some snow removal work, or snow pushing and salting. It's a little bit of a trick because I've got a two-wheel drive pickup truck, I've got a two-wheel drive dump truck, and that's about it as far as vehicles go. So I'm not sure what the whole plan looks like. All I know is I can't afford to sit around this winter and not make money. I'm gonna go look at a snow plow for a skid steer, and we're gonna see how this ends up turning out. All right, looky there it is. Got it on the machine and everything. We can take a good look at it. He said he kind of built it out of a hodgepodge of different plows and stuff. And yeah, it looks like it's not in too bad shape. A little bit of leakage, but not too bad at all. I like it. I'm gonna ask him some questions and we'll see if we end up with it. Oh yeah! It's quick!
You can turn it down. I put a valve here.
Oh, okay.
So you can turn the flow down, you can turn this back in a little bit.
Nice.
And then I also put a relief valve, so if you hit a curb.
Oh, it doesn't go back to port relief on the machine.
Tighten it to get more relief.
Gotcha. Oh, don't really want to fold the plow in half. Yeah, I see. That's cool. Well, there we go. We got it loaded up. I meant to film it, but my camera was in the wrong spot and I couldn't get to it when he was setting it in there. He basically just set in there and then detached, and it kind of flopped upright, and there it is. So that'll ride good for the way home. We'll just shut our tailgate here. We're on our way. It's definitely seen, it's seen some seasons. It's not brand new, but a fellow built it with all readily available parts. They're Meyer cylinders, Boss cutting edge, stuff like that. So if I do have a problem with it in the middle of the season, all that stuff's readily available, which I think is really key. And it's way better than something that was completely home built with just scrap parts laying around wherever, because that stuff is impossible to repair. So I'm gonna load this up. I'm gonna head home and get it unloaded. I don't think we're gonna get unloaded tonight because it's probably gonna be dark. That's okay, that'll be for another day. Alrighty, we're back at my place, and it's actually like a week later because I just have been super busy and haven't gotten to do anything that I wanted to do. Now I need this truck to move the excavator up to a job tomorrow for some downspout works. Let's grab a chain real quick, hook this plow up, and swing it out of here before it gets all the way dark on us, because it's gonna be dark soon. All right, there it is, and there it's gonna rest until I have time to get into the shop and paint it, because it could use a little sprucing up. So that's probably what you'll see next. Alrighty, as you can see, there's snow on the ground now. I had a couple contracts lined that I thought I was gonna win and was gonna use this on, and that's why I got it. And they didn't pan out. It was my first year bidding on snow jobs, and so I gotta learn some things about how that pricing structure works and everything. But I do have a use for this machine coming up on a job. Gotta plow some snow out to get some trucks in and out without getting stuck. So let's give this thing a little bit of attention. It needs a little TLC. We just need to kind of fix some things up, make them stronger. This whole plow is based on Meyer's parts and pieces. I'm not sure if it was originally a 10-foot mold board, or if it was an 8-foot mold board that somebody extended. It seems to me like it's all one mold board. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely been hodgepodge together, different parts and pieces over the years. It was retrofitted to a skid steer quick attach plate and used on skid steers. Still got like Meyer cylinders and even I think it's a Meyer's pressure regulator or flow regulator actually there to adjust the speed if you need to, and you have a skid steer that you can't adjust the flow on. It does have a trip mechanism, so the whole plow trips over if you hit something with a cutting edge, like a manhole cover or something. But as you can see, it's been used and abused for a long time. And so it's nice and sloppy, which is kind of a good thing in a plow. You want it to not be too rigid and fixed to the machine, but it does have some weak points that we really need to give some attention before they fail. So the one that sticks out to me the most is this attachment plate. As you can see here, it's not real straight. It you can see that this top link here has been pulling on it in between where it mounts to the machine here and over there, and been kind of bending this down. So I'm sure that's flexing. It looks like it's broke some probably kind of lame welds in here, and it just needs a little bit of love. The right solution is really not to put a single top link in there, but to run links from here down to there, because this is where the machine supports it. So if we load the top of the quick attach plate at the ends rather than the center, we'll be putting that load directly into the machine rather than into the plate, where the plate has to support the whole plow between the two quick attach pads, so to say. So I'm gonna get some metal cut and sized up for those things, and then we'll weld it on. Alrighty guys, I had some audio issues here, and so I'm just gonna voice this over real quick. Right now I'm talking about how I want to attach these struts, these links. I want to kind of weld them into more than one place. I want to weld them there, and then on down there at the end, just because more attachment points makes them stronger. I also, before I wanted to weld those on, I wanted to get these hoses rerouted, because the hoses are set up for a machine that has the auxiliary connections on the other side of the skid steer. So I needed to take this block off and rotate it. I thought there would be a bolt head on the other side of the attachment plate, but there wasn't. It was just welded on. So just a little bit of quick work with a ratchet, and we had that block loosened. It was a really tight fit on the bolt though, as you'll see in just a moment. It was just really tough to get it wiggled off of there. I ended up having to do a little bit of prying and a little bit of just wiggle. I think the hole was drilled to the exact same size as the bolt. It was just a tight fit, and then a little bit of corrosion made it stiff. So rerouting those hoses so that way they can reach and have a better range of motion. Even needed to loosen up some of these fittings and let the hoses rotate on the valve block, so that way they could be in a nice relaxed position once we remounted that valve block. And as you can see there, I had a little bit of trouble getting it back on even. It was just a bit of a trick. I think it was kind of frustrating. But now I'm going on and kind of shining up some spots to weld to, because it just welds so much better when you've got some shiny metal to weld to. You can see there all 3 points for each rod that I wanted to weld to. So my kind of amateur level welding. I just got an old Lincoln welder like Grandpa had, kind of a thing. It doesn't have any of the fancy like hot start features that help you strike an arc. So I've still got some skill to develop to make up for less than fantastic equipment, but that only comes with more practice. So just keep practicing. Just imagine sizzle stick sounds now here. Well, I'd say they didn't turn out too bad. My welds are never a professional grade, but typically they're good enough to get the job done. They're not any worse than what's already on this thing. So next up, we need to flush out the hydraulics, the cylinders and the lines on this unit, because I don't want to mix the nasty fluid, at least the nasty fluid I saw coming out of that line, into the reservoir on my brand new machine here. So let's go ahead and do that. Inevitably, every time I take hydraulic lines apart, I always end up making a mess. So we got the gloves off. What I'm gonna do is what I hope I'm gonna do is take one of these couplers off, run the plow one way and let the oil dump into here, switch the hose positions, take the other coupler off, run it the other way, let the oil dump into here, and maybe do that 2 cycles, and I think that should pretty well clean the old stuff out. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, I'm gonna drop something in this oil bucket before the end of the day. It's O-ring Boss. It didn't even have to be that tight. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. That's nice and clean. The stuff that came out down there definitely had some moisture in it. Now the real question is, will that hose stay pointed in the bucket when the oil comes shooting out of it. Hopefully. But hope is not a real strong word. Sometimes. That looks like it makes it a little bit better. Alrighty, here we go. Whoa! She took off. Try to give it just a little bit. Oh my goodness. It is full speed or nothing. We have to figure out how to turn that down. Alright, that looks like that's all the farther it goes, so let's go ahead and switch them. Well, looks like it all made it into the bucket. That's nice. Yeah, there's definitely some moisture in there. Ick. Well, I was looking around up here because I felt like this plow didn't angle all the way. Felt like it should go further because these aren't hitting the stops there. And sure enough, it looks like it's contacting here. So a little disappointing, but not that big of a deal. We can cut this out and this will still be structurally sound, I think, because this is tied to this and this is tied to this, etc., etc. So we should be good there. Also, I threw some paint on them if you didn't notice. Okay, round 2. Here we go in the other direction. Oh, you know why it goes so fast? It's because there's no resistance in the opposite direction. That makes sense. Why isn't it going on farther now? What are we hung up on? We're hung up on nothing. Alright, that looks like all the farther it's going. Ah boy, and of course, we made a bit of a mess. Let me put this quick connector on and we'll throw some oil dry on the ground to avoid that getting any bigger of a mess. If we don't tighten it right away, it'll get forgotten and then never tightened. That oil looked pretty clean. It should be. It's half oil from this machine. Clean up on aisle 2. Yeah, we can give that more attention once we get the machine out of the way, but that should do the trick for now. Alright, I'm gonna do that whole sequence another time just to make sure everything's good and flushed out, and then this plow should be ready to go. Alright, she works pretty good. She kind of slams kind of hard. I'll see if I can figure out how to slow that down. Probably some electronic adjustment in here is going to take me a year to figure out, but I think we're ready to take it out to a job. Alrighty, we got to get this driveway cleared off a little bit so I can get some dumpster trucks in here. It's just a gravel drive, so we don't want to go too hard on it. It's also been driven on and packed down a bit already, so we'll see how it goes. Driveway I gotta get the trucks into. It's asphalt. It's kind of crummy asphalt, but it is asphalt, so that's good. Let's see if we can clean it off nice. Asphalt with a bunch of leaves, it looks like. Now hold on, now we're stuck over on the side again. What's that all about? Well, this top coupler is puking fluid, so it's not from back here in the, in the threads or anything. It's from up in here. So I'm gonna mess around with it a little bit and see if I can kind of figure out what the problem is. If nothing else, we just got a little bit to do here, and I'll just do it real quick, and we'll worry about this later because I gotta get on to other things today. Well, I hooked and unhooked it and pressurized it and depressurized it a couple of times and all sorts of things. And this coupler, I think, has a problem with it. There's something hung up, something worn out, something. This collar on it won't slide all the way forward. It slides most of the way forward, but not all the way. So probably need to replace that thing. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. My camera actually died there in the last couple seconds because it was just so cold out, and those GoPros don't last for well in the cold. You just go through batteries really fast. But I made one more swipe and then we loaded up and headed home. I'm gonna get that coupler replaced, and maybe we'll see this plow again. I don't know. It might just sit in the yard for the rest of season 2. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.